So I want to do a quick video to touch on why we prep for so long as natural bodybuilders, why we recommend that. Because I often hear people say, man, why do you prep for so long? Or they ask my clients, why are you prepping for so long? So the first point is going to be, I go to tons of shows, I've competed in a few shows, I judge a lot of shows, I MC a lot of shows, and statistically speaking, there are far more people that don't get anywhere lean enough than get too lean. Very rarely is the feedback from a judge ever, okay, you got way too conditioned, you need to pull back a little bit and fill out. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. People do come in flat, they come in a little bit too lean. So it definitely does happen, but a huge majority of people are nowhere near lean enough to be stepping on stage for the category that they are trying to compete in. The next thing is that losing 15 to 20 pounds when you have 60 pounds to lose is pretty easy, right? Like, it takes discipline, it takes consistency, but that weight's going to come off you very quickly if you do the right things. What people don't understand is there's a big difference between being beach lean and being stage lean. And when you're trying to go from beach lean to stage lean, that fat is much harder to pull off. The reason being, you're a lot more tired, your hormones are not really playing ball with you, you're probably not sleeping as well as you want to. There's far more temptation that you've got to avoid because hunger levels are so much higher and you're never truly satiated. And in order to get more energy, you feel like, I want to eat more, which can lead to people cheating on their diet, which in turn is going to mean they're not going to end up lean enough. So having a little bit of extra time can also kind of help them cancel that if they were to have a slip up, if you like. The third point is going to be that it's better to have too much time and be ready a little bit early than to not be ready at all, right? So if you get ready a little bit early, then what does that do? It gives you an opportunity to be able to play around with some things, trial some peaks, and you can also reverse food up from there. So if you do a 26-week prep, and let's say you absolutely kill it, you were relatively lean and you're ahead of the game, and 6 weeks out, you're like, okay, we don't need to get any leaner. Awesome. It's not a bad thing. It means you can increase your food, potentially reverse food up into the show, or as I said before, you can play around with some trial peaks and do some different things. But from experience, that rarely ever happens. Because again, fat loss at that very end is so much harder than people realize. It's so much harder to get off those last few pounds when you really have to dig, when everything sucks, and you're trying to pull off 3 to 4 pounds that your body doesn't want to let go of because your body is saying, what are we doing? Get some more body fat back on. So when you start going to shows and you start watching people and you realize these people aren't lean enough, they're not getting lean enough. Why are they not getting lean enough? Well, it could be because they're not giving themselves enough time. And it could be because they're just simply not following the dietary protocol. But as a natural bodybuilder, when you only have food and training to manipulate, you've got to give yourself enough time. So if you're truly bought into the process of bodybuilding, doing a prep for a longer period of time isn't going to bother you, right? Like, if you're just like, I want to do a really short prep because that way I'm in and I'm out, but it's not going to make you ready, then how invested are you actually in the sport, in bringing your best to the stage? If someone says you need to do a 26-week prep instead of a 18-week prep, do those 8 weeks really matter? Does that 8 weeks really throw you off? Does that 8 weeks really make you feel like, man, this is just too much of a grind? Well, if it's going to make you look your absolute best, then it's going to make more sense to do that. So those are a few reasons why we're going to recommend slightly longer preps, is to make sure that the people are ready, because as we said in the beginning, the majority of people do not get lean enough for their category to be stepping on stage. Because if you take men's physique, classic physique, and bodybuilding in the men's categories, then obviously it's a deeper level of conditioning needed for each, right? Like, a bodybuilder has to be the most conditioned. You want straight glutes, you want lines through your hamstrings. And for most people, especially myself, those are the last things to come in. So you're only as lean as your fattest body part. So you might be super lean through the upper body and everybody's telling you you're ready, but you know you've got to keep pushing because you're not seeing those deep details and those lines that are going to make the difference on stage. Obviously for men's physique, they don't have to be as lean as the bodybuilders, so they could probably get away with a slightly shorter prep than what a bodybuilder could do. But when you go to shows, you will still see men's physique athletes that aren't lean enough. They are beach lean. They would look good amongst the general public on the beach, but they aren't lean enough to be on stage. So when you go into your next prep, if you weren't lean enough in the first one, did you prep for long enough? Is it going to make more sense to give yourself a little bit more time? And if you aren't willing to do that, why not? Are you truly invested in being the best bodybuilder that you can be?